great to be back. So today I was thinking about what I was saying yesterday about I have a dream. And in a way that made me realize that for most of my life, definitely for my 20s, I don't know if it's a child that felt kind of weird here too. I never really wanted to be here. It kind of sounds funny. And then when you look into spiritual books, they always say, well, you have to want to be here to have a good life. So maybe I should have changed my mind about being here earlier. But I never really felt like I wanted to be here because out of a multitude of reasons, I think. Right away, I realized this is quite a rough and brutal place, even as a child. And I didn't understand a lot of things, I think. I mean, one thing was that I didn't understand how people treated nature because I was very connected to nature as a child. And even cars, I didn't get because, they make a lot of noise, they're bad for the environment, and so on and so forth. So I never understood the principles. And I think that even increased because at a certain age, we moved to the south of Germany, to the German Alps, and had a great time there as a child between age 6 and 12 or something, just because I could be outside. I was like outside, I was in the mountains, I was around trees. But the moment I had to go to, or I was able to go to high school, what they call a gymnasium here in Germany, it was so brutal because right away, you're 12 years old and they say now, now life starts to get serious. It's this funny thing anyway, a serious life. Who wants to have a serious life? And then they told my parents that if I have less than 1 hour to play a day, I'm probably at the wrong school. But you're 12 years old, what is like 1 hour a day for yourself? I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And that, I think, also made me realize that that place here, this place, ain't fun, It's just a brutal system. We live in a brutal system. Since the system is oppressive. Because, I mean, at the end, what do we do in school? We learn how to fit into the mold. We learn how to fit into the system. That's why it's so interesting that in Germany, it's mandatory to go to school, and this was invented by Adolf Hitler. So he wanted to have all the kids in school because he could indoctrinate them. And it's in a way how it is today. Just recently I learned, because a friend of mine took a course about speculating at the stock exchange. And I worked in the bank at a certain point, so I had some ideas, but it was a long time ago. But my question was, why don't we learn this in school? Well, we don't learn this in school because, and I'm convinced that it's true, we're not supposed to learn to make money this way. Because we're supposed to be workers. We're supposed to have a job, do our thing, and just get enough money to get by, to have to do the same thing next month again. Because otherwise, where does the motivation come from? So, in so many ways, this is a very brutal environment, a very brutal system. And my question that arose while I was thinking about this was, can we even imagine something that's different, something that's humane, that's worried about how other people feel, to ensure that they have a good life without being worried all the time about paying the bills and all that? Do we want to have a more humane life by treating animals differently? A more humane life by treating the environment differently? But can we even imagine? Can we even envision this? That instead of constantly fighting with each other and trying to be on top of the hill, being the winner, we support each other. And the focus just shifts. The focus shifts from survival and maybe also having lots of money to have a nice life, to what can I do to support this community? What can I do to support treating animals right? What can I do to support the environment? It's a completely different way of thinking. And the big question is, since most of the motivation we have at the moment on this planet is based on fear, because if you don't make money, well, you're in trouble. I mean, Germany definitely is one of the better places to not make money, but do not make money in the States or many other countries in the world. Then, what are you going to do? Live on the streets? So, fear is the main motivation. And it would have to shift from fear to something else. But that's how we motivate people right now. We motivate people by putting them a gun to their head and saying, look, you either do this job, you either make money, or I don't know, it's not going to be pretty. So that's the motivation. But would people still be motivated if it was not about fear? They didn't need to be afraid anymore, but they could do what they love to do and use what they love to do to support the community, to support the environment. And what kind of world would this be? It would be much more peaceful, because this is a brutal world. I think we can all agree to that. This is a brutal environment, and it reminds me on my math teacher, who was never very happy with me because I was really bad at math, Herr Scharnagel. And when he would come into class, he said, yeah, guys, this is how it is. That's how life is. It's cold, dark, and cruel. And for some time I thought he was wrong, but it's not how life is. It is how the system is. The system is brutal. And we're so brainwashed that we think, we have to have the system. We have to put a lot of effort into whatever we do to get something back. But what is the motivation underneath all of this is fear. Because we're afraid if we don't do it, we get into trouble. And we do. So what if we would be able to shift that to a system of passion, a system of motivation to make things better? I think that would be possible. I mean, one of the issues obviously is also that of inequality. And that's really interesting, because I just saw this interview today, and the difference between the rich and the poor in the past 20 years in America increased by 6%. And it's so funny, because in Germany, they like to bitch about America because it's the most unequal country in the world, and whatever. But in Germany, in 20 years, the difference between rich and poor increased by 26%. That's 20% more. That's quite a bit. So it's everywhere the same. It's the same thing. And where is this going to lead to? That's one big issue, because a lot of the money that is out there is already gone, because it's in the hands of a handful of people. And obviously, when you are in this position, and who knows if we would be different, if you're in the position of power, you like that system. It's good for you. So why would you want to change it? Why would you give people freedoms to do what they want to do if they're doing a good job helping you to make more money. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. So that's why it's so tough to even change anything, because if you have the power, you have the money. If you have the money, you can, buy politicians, buy the media. And so you stay where you are, because the media will portray you as a good guy, and you have the politicians on your side, and you're on top of the world anyway. So that's perfect. But 99.999999999% of the world is just not in this position. So it's not for everybody. But there has to be a dream first. There has to be a vision first. And if we as the people can't envision a more gentle, a more humane, a more pleasant environment than what we had before, then we live the dream of somebody else. Because we have to have a dream to move in a certain direction. And if we don't have the dream, where are we going to go? Sit and wait, as I mentioned yesterday, and let somebody else come up with something. But that somebody else probably will be part of that 1% who's really happy with the system and doesn't want it any other way, and will keep the system in place. We will not see many surprises that way. So think about it. Can you see a different world? Can you see a world that is focused on something else? And if not, it's fine too. Then we just go with what we have. But if we can see something that is different, then we should follow that vision. Because definitely not in my lifetime, times were better for change. This is where it can happen or not happen. Or better said, this is when change can take place, or what we had before will be even more brutal, more cruel, more out of control. That's how I see it. So the big question is, can we have a dream? And how does this dream look like? Thanks so much. Don't forget, please like and subscribe if you like this vlog. And I see you guys tomorrow.